guy that's, maybe it's measure or whatever it is, out with a checklist and get that signed by the customer when you're there. Okay? Great? No? Why not? It says that all the cabinets are there. They're not going to add any cabinets. Does that ever happen to you?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a thought, and it sounds crazy, but that paperwork trail can save you a lot of trouble later on in the process. So you can't go back and create that situation again. And I think people actually appreciate it. It makes it look like a much more professional situation, right? When that person's coming in and they're like, okay, these are your cabinets, yes. This is your sink, yes. Okay, we're just signing off. I mean, how many people are using digital templating? Whatever, I don't care if it's laser products, whoever's it is. Okay, so you've got the ability on the software that's with you, right, to have somebody sign off, check off on it. Overhangs, things like that. It can become a big deal. So always a good idea to keep that communication at a high level. Does anybody produce shop drawings for their customers before they're cut? Okay. Layouts, so most of you do layouts, so they physically come look at the material and how it's going to be cut. Okay. All good things, right? Get that checked off and signed off, pictures. Awesome. Cut ticket cut ticket is typically more of a commercial thing, but are you guys ordering cut size stuff? So you're preparing cut tickets, make sure those get approved by the proper channels, whether it's a general contractor, the design professional, whoever it is, right? And then how about natural stone disclaimers? Are you still using those? Because that used to be a big thing. Some places still do it, some don't. Yeah? So they come in, they sign off, it says natural stone varies.
Right, correct.
Okay. Pretty common. Okay, great. And then last thing is subcontracting. It's my understanding from driving around in this area and talking to some of the fabricator shops and visits and things like that, that there's a fair amount of subcontracting and installation. Would that be a fair comment? Yes? No? Well, how many people do their own installations? Let me ask that. Okay, so a lot of you do. Okay. So those that don't, that are contracting out the installation, what's your agreement? Typically, is it by the job, or do you have a contract with them, or?
We have a contract with them.
Okay. Anybody else? So a few things to be.
They have a year warranty on the workmanship.
What's that?
They have a year warranty on the workmanship, so we vote them for it.
Okay. And you've gone back to your insurance company, they know that your subcontractor work?
Excuse me?
Your insurance company knows that your subcontractor?
Yes.
They can be, they're also insured?
Yes, they are insured. They have to be insured to be our subcontractor.
Okay. So those insurance considerations can be really, really big because you don't think about it, but unbelievably bad things can happen. People can get injured in the process of installation. If you're hired out a subcontractor, that's not them, that's you. If you're not insured, if you're not indemnified from their actions. So be cognizant of that. Again, I've said it, I know a number of times. I'm actually working for the law firm here in town. Seriously, have your attorneys look at this stuff at least like every couple of years, because things do change, statutes change, make sure you're keeping up with it. The other thing is you may have an insurance policy that covers you for your typical, right, type of actions and your typical work. But if you hire a subcontractor and something happens, you may not be covered. Insurance doesn't cover everything. In fact, insurance covers very few things. And our insurance agent is particularly fond of saying, we don't insure stupid. So if somebody does something that was basically nonsensical, then common sense would have told you not to do that, and something bad results, they're not going to cover it. So if they break off a plumbing pipe and flood the house, you're probably not covered. So small things, okay? And then use your vendors, okay? So your insurance company will probably provide you with a number of things. They'll probably provide you with video training for safety. Somebody was talking about safety, I can't remember who it was. They will actually supply you with video on demand for for safety training for your employees. They'll provide you with testing, sometimes, depending on the company. So how many are doing spirometries here? Okay, so that's a lung function test. If you're gonna be in this business, I would highly suggest that when you onboard people, you do a spirometry and a hearing test. So when they leave, or if they leave, and they make a claim back against you, you can say, hey, this guy's lung function was right here when he started, and it was right here when he left. Okay? Yes, buddy.
Most of the franchise strip mall walk-in medical clinics will provide that for $200 or less.
So look, we do, our company, we bring in everybody for one day, and we do and it's an incredible waste of time, money, and effort, but we try to make it a happy event, because really I'm the only one that's bleeding. But do the spirometries, do the hearing tests, okay? Those are really important, okay? You need to take care of your people, and you need to have proof, because at some point, somebody's gonna leave and be unhappy. Or worse yet, maybe I can definitively tell you from our data that smoking does have an effect on lung function as far as your ability to handle anything that comes up. So we went through the whole COVID thing. This is even pre-COVID. So you can expect if you have people working for you that are smoking, they may very well have a higher incidence of silicosis. So there's no reason to exclude them from the testing. They should get into it, okay? When you're done with that, you've got that, put that in their file, continue to follow up on that. It's really important. Last thing we do, you guys use respirators, I assume? No? Oh, come on. Somebody's got to use respirators, right? Masks? N95 masks the last 2 years? No? You guys are tired. Amp up. So if you're using respirators, those have to be tested every year. That's an OSHA requirement. They have to be fit test every single year. And if you have to have your people shave their beard to take the test, they have to shave their beard. Is that's a requirement. Okay? So you need to protect yourself, you need to look at that. That's something you really need to act on if you're not acting on it now. That's not a kind of sort of yeah, kind of if. Alright? Forklift certifications. Everybody does forklift certifications? Yes? Okay, awesome. Renew it every 3 years. Okay, so if you don't have somebody in your HR or somebody that's handling safety for you, it's a good idea to commit somebody, even if it's just like a part-time job. But there's tons of resources at the NSI. And I mean, there's actual training. There's actually a syllabus to train. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. A safety training syllabus that people can check off, and then you have a permanent record. Okay? So I'm going to skip through that, but suffice it to say, make sure that you're considering those things when you're subcontracting, that you're taking on some liability. So they need to participate with you, and you need to get those requirements in place to protect yourself. Last thing on this particular slide is theories of templating. We just did a webinar. We talked about webinars earlier. We had 3 hours of conversation, 4 people, different reps from different companies with different templating systems, and you can have your people watch that, or you can watch that yourself, but it's a great way to learn, what are the best ways to use those tools. You've got that electronic or the digital templating, are you doing the best job you possibly can? Okay. So we get to installation. These are just basically another, a list of concerns that you might have or things that you've got to deal with. Change orders, make sure that you leave yourself room for change orders, right? Because things a lot of times change. You have to remove the tops because somebody didn't do it, or you have to build a land bridge to get to the building. Whatever it is. Make sure you leave yourself some room with that, and that you've got signed documentation going into that. Now, you're not going to have that opportunity if you're delivering on, say, a purchase order or something like that. But pay attention to what method it is you're using to come to that agreement, and make sure you allow yourself some flexibility for the changes that happen. Anybody have change orders? Anybody ever install something that actually changed between when you templated and showed up? Never. Right? So So it's just a matter of being cognizant of it and understanding that. So the last thing, and I think probably one of the most important things, is written approval after the installation, right? Those customers are on a serious high, right? Oh my God, I've been waiting for this for so long. It's so beautiful. You know, this is gonna sound horrible, but it's a realistic thing. Make sure you use that time to have them go through the project, the job, look at everything, right? Check it off, and make sure they get a copy of it, you get a copy of it, because it's gonna save you so much in a month or in 6 months or something like that. Because their sister comes or their sister-in-law, whatever, comes over and they're like, oh. Ray Charles can see that scene from the living room, whatever it is, right? Or there's a chip here, there's something there, okay? Understand it, by capturing that information, I'm not saying you're not gonna take care of your customer, but by having that information, that may give you a little bit of pricing power. Maybe they're gonna pay for it, right? Because you can sit there and say, hey, look, I've pulled your file, and I have your report, time of installation, it's the material, it's the proper edge, it's et cetera, et cetera. And I can tell you in 35 years, everything happens. It's like, oh, this is the wrong edge. Like, it's 6 months later. Well, I was digging through my file, and I found the edge that I wanted, and it's circled, so you were supposed to do that edge. No. It worked. Okay? So things do happen, and the better you do at documenting it, personal experience, right? Want to share? Yeah.
Well, I say all the time,
But it does happen. Maybe the inside of the sink. So you use the leather product, and you hold the inside of the sink, right? Instead of brushing it, as whatever. 5-inch radius corners or something, difficult or impossible to do, right? And then they come back later and say, oh, I wanted it all to be exactly the same. What are you going to do about that? Okay? So just saying that bottom thing, that written approval of the installation, right, can be really big. Plus, how many are using that for your marketing, right? We got that natural high, that euphoria, they're all excited. They're amazing people, they're so nice and shovel the sidewalk, right? When people go to look at your reviews online, right? How many people are using online reviews in their marketing, whatever? Okay. It's important, right? I mean, I didn't think it was important, and I had this gal tell me, she's like, I almost didn't use you guys because you don't have any reviews. And I said, we're a 93-year-old company, we don't have reviews. And that's not true. So, that gives you an opportunity to get those reviews, get some pictures, get their little written comments. I think the comments are probably more important than anything else you can get, right? Positive comments about your crew, about the process, whatever. And understand what questions you ask, okay? Because what do people do, right? You're parked in line at Wendy's and they want you to do a review and they need a 10. Do you really care if you give them a 10 if you got the right hamburger, right? So make your form advantageous to your company. Cleanliness. Yes, right? Did a great job keeping it clean. Whatever it is, okay? Right color, right edge, all the basic things you need. But don't forget to give yourself some attaboys too, right? And then that gets turned around too for the people that are working for you. We talked a little bit about retention earlier. What's more emotionally satisfying to an employee than walking in the door and on the front of the pass-through going back to the shop, there's a little folder pasted in that clear letter protector is a review from a customer that says, your people are great, they did an awesome job. Mike's a great guy. 5, 5, 5, right? People take pride in their work, they're gonna do a better job, but B, they're part of your family, they're gonna stay. Because they know that you understand and you appreciate it, right?